This is Gary Pillar, and in this series of screencasts I would like to talk to you about the general principles of how to plan and prepare a manuscript for a short presentation. Today is part one of the series, which I've labelled delimitation. So, what is science? Science is a body of accumulated objective knowledge that has been derived from systematic investigations, held up to public examination, and can be repeated. It is an international conversation between scientists, where shared, tested, and verified information or knowledge gradually builds up. Or, to paraphrase Sir Isaac Newton, if I have seen further, it is only by standing on the shoulders of giants. The reason why I have chosen to concentrate on the delimitation aspect is that, in my experience here at Kyoto University, a common weakness of many manuscripts that come across my desk is that they fail to tell a story, or lack focus, and risk not becoming science because it doesn't engage the audience. For, as the quote above says, science not communicated is science not done. Thus, the purpose of a presentation should be to effectively communicate your ideas, analysis, or concepts in such a way that it transforms your observations, numbers, or data into information or knowledge that your intended audience wants to hear or learn about. This can only be achieved if there is careful delimiting of what question you are addressing, selection and inclusion of only that data which is directly relevant to the question. In addition, the manuscript should be written with clarity and easily understood by the listener. To achieve this, you need to understand the importance of and actively seek to engage the audience in the story that you want to tell them. Then, and only then, will you be able to effectively interest and communicate with your audience in such a way that what you have to say to them becomes information or knowledge that they can use. To do this, I would like to expand on a four-stage process of manuscript preparation: think, plan, draft, and revise. An analogy I like to think about when considering this manuscript preparation is that of designing and building a new house. When you decide that you're going to build a new house, you first look at houses other people have built and identify what style of house you would like to build. Similarly, you need to define one main question the manuscript that you are going to write is going to focus on. An unclear focus in the manuscript or too many objectives will confuse the audience and lessen the worth of anything you have to say. By pinpointing one precisely delimited question, you are making it easy to identify and demonstrate that the story you are telling is important. Once you have decided a style of house, then you look at the houses in your community with a similar style to get ideas. By giving a presentation, you also are participating in a scientific conversation in that subject. You will need to know how others have approached and understood the subject, so you can demonstrate how your analysis adds or extends to the knowledge base. Once having collected the information, organized your thoughts, and drawn up a design for the house, you next need to build the framework upon which the details are later added. Your first draft of the manuscript plays this role. It gets down on paper the basic structure or logic of how the main ideas will be organized in the manuscript. At this stage, the finer details are ignored. Then, once the framework is up, the finer details are added. So too with the manuscript. The finer details of expression are worked on and revised to come up with the final version of the manuscript. In scientific manuscripts, the framework most often takes the IMRAD structure: introduction, materials and methods, results, and discussion and conclusion. This IMRAD structure is commonly represented by an hourglass. Wide at the top, the introduction, and the bottom, discussion and conclusion, and narrow in the middle, methods and results. This width represents the scale or breadth of the information being considered. The introduction sets the broad context in which the study was undertaken, while the methods and results focus much more specifically on the actual activities undertaken and results obtained. Then, in the discussion, there is a broader consideration of what the results mean and their potential implications. So, to reiterate, the introduction sets the context of the research, highlights or narrowly defines the problem that is going to be addressed, and has a structure of progressing from the broad context of the research, narrowing down to the specific hypothesis that will be tested. In the materials and methods, what was actually done is explained so that other interested scientists could repeat the research if they wanted to. Then what was actually found is set out. And finally, the discussion allows for a broader consideration of what the implications of the results are. When putting the introduction together, the following questions often need to be answered in this section. What is known about the subject? Why is this research important? What problem is being addressed? And how can the problem be solved? When writing the first draft, the emphasis should be on getting the framework down as quickly as possible, without being distracted by grammatical or finer details. So as tips for writing the first draft, write quickly. Don't try to correct the text as you write. In other words, don't be a perfectionist. Sketch out your ideas first. Focus on logical organization. Tips for revision include ensuring the focus of the manuscript is clear. The structure of the paragraphs and sentences should be logical. Each paragraph topic should be needed for the core argument and not just some indirect points that you think are interesting. And any unnecessary words, phrases or observations, in other words clutter, needs to be removed from the text. So, in summary, in order to ensure effective communication in a presentation that engages your audience and transforms your data and analysis into information and knowledge in the audience's mind, you need to spend the majority of your preparation time carefully thinking about and planning how you can clearly highlight the importance of the research and delimit without confusion its boundaries. Once that is done, the draft should be written quickly so as to set out the IMRAD framework for the later addition of finer details and revision of the text. I hope that has been of help to you.